Hey YouTube, right here. Alright, I wanted to go ahead and talk about bachelors and the bullshit that they have to experience. Now, some of this is going to be active right now, some of this is going to be more of kind of a future thing. I'll try to keep it pretty organized, but you know my videos. So, you've got the modern day bachelor. You know, guy living on his own, not getting into any serious relationships with women, maybe just not even getting into relationships with women, never planning to get married, making sure that they're using protection, you know, all that sort of shit. Now, there are some ups and there are some downs to this, and I'm going to go ahead and address them. One of the ups is your cost of living is going to be significantly lower than your male counterparts that decide to go ahead and stick their dick in crazy and then get chained down to crazy in one way or another, whether it be through a kid, whether it be through marriage, whether it be through both. But your cost of living is going to be much lower. Now, this means that amassing wealth is going to be much easier for you. Well, that's a double-edged sword, because the thing is the more wealth that you amass, the more that you buy for yourself, the better care you take of yourself, all that's going to start pulling the gold diggers out. Not just gold diggers. I mean, women in general at this point are starting to fucking panic. And so they're looking for a guy because they're noticing that Big Daddy government's closing his fucking wallet. And so, of course, they come running to the fucking men saying, hey, are you willing to take care of me? Now, you're going to end up being shamed for looking at them and going, fuck no. You're going to get shamed for it. You're going to get a lot of flack for it. There's going to be a lot of smack talked about you. Just let it roll off. Don't capitulate to their fucking demands. That's the worst thing you can do at this point. Because remember, women are lashing out because now they're a cornered, wounded animal. They've realized that they've priced themselves outside of the market, and that the only thing that could possibly get someone to purchase their product, we'll say, is shaming tactics. They're not even being subtle about it anymore either. They're straight up saying, well, if you won't date me, then you're a sexist. Just like, you know, trans women are sitting there and saying, well, if you won't date me or you won't fuck me, then you're transphobic. You know, you get all that shit. You would think that trans women would at least, you know, understand the male mindset, but apparently not. Apparently that kind of goes out the window. But be careful when it comes to amassing wealth. Don't flaunt it, you know. I mean, yeah, go ahead, get yourself a nice car. I recommend more of a nice car as far as one that gets good gas mileage, maybe a motorcycle, you know, something like that. Something that gets you from point A to point B in an efficient manner, and maybe even in a slightly stylish manner. But the thing is the reason why I recommend that is because that's going to allow you to fly more under the radar. If you go ahead and you buy yourself, you know, a sports car or something like that, you're going to get women turning their heads at you going, oh, I want a piece of that. And they are willing to do anything to get a piece of it, including lying about you, saying that you did something that you blatantly didn't do. Don't fall for it. Make sure that you have your ass covered. I've covered that in a previous video, but it bears repeating because it is that fucking important. Now, when it comes to other men trying to shame you into coming back to the plantation, it's a lot easier to tell them to fuck off. But remember, the simps, they're not going to give up that easily. They'll give up a lot easier than women will. Because the thing is even in their mind, they realize that, you know, their end goal of getting fucked over by a woman is a lot easier for them to achieve when you, the higher quality target, is not in play. But them trying to shame you allows them to get brownie points so they can go ahead and take it up the ass faster. So don't pay attention to them. And I don't care if it's someone that you just met or if it's someone who you've known all your life. I don't care if it's your best fucking friend. Do not listen to them. Do what is right for you. If you end up finding someone and you think that they might not fuck you over, well, in my opinion, you're really fucking stupid. You're way too trusting. But that's your choice. But don't sit there and come running back going, oh, how did it turn out so wrong? Because all you're going to get from the MGTOW are a bunch of I told you so's. And it's not meant to be mean. It's not meant to be uncaring. But it's one of those, well, you just learned a really expensive lesson. Hope it was worth it. I wish I had known about MGTOW when I was younger. Because I would have lived my life very fucking differently. I wouldn't have wasted so many opportunities, which there were a lot of opportunities wasted. Maybe one of these times I'll go ahead and get onto a live stream and I'll talk about some of the big opportunities that I've missed. Still debating on that one. But another thing that is coming our way, and I'm telling you this right the fuck now, and it's not necessarily a particular state, it's not even necessarily just the US. In fact, other countries will have it beforehand. In fact, I believe a couple countries actually have it going on right now. And that's something akin to a bachelor tax. Basically, if you're a guy that is of marrying age, and you are not married, you will get hit with this tax. So that they can try to redistribute that wealth to the women who were not able to trap you into a relationship. Yes, it is kind of a socialist mindset on that, but it's specifically socialist in the favor of women, not men. Do not think that that bachelor tax will go anywhere toward anything that benefits you, because it won't. It'll go towards women's shelters. It'll go towards feeding and clothing these women that have this victim complex, that sit there and say, oh, well, there's just no good men out there. The ones that don't realize, yeah, there are a lot of good men out there. It's just those good men don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. The price is too high. Best way to avoid that? Go ahead and earn enough to go ahead and have a decent life. But don't sit there and try to amass great amounts of wealth. If you do amass great amounts of wealth, don't let it stay monetary. Don't, leave it sitting in a bank. Invest it. And I'm not talking about necessarily in stocks. I'm talking, buy precious metals, store them away. That sort of thing. Things that are off the books. Because they can't tax that. Because they can't prove that you have it. Put money into hobbies that you can go ahead and make money out of. Like me, I'm looking to start up blacksmithing pretty soon. It's always something I've wanted to do, and so now I'm staring it down. Now I'm seriously contemplating it. It's kind of useful that where I live, I don't need any special licenses for blacksmithing, which is nice. Kind of a nice thing about living out in a somewhat out-of-the-way area. Even though we're technically considered a city, we're a very widespread city with a very low population for a city. Like, we barely constitute one. But I've noticed that as I've gained more confidence, as I've stopped giving a fuck about women, more and more of them, like, it doesn't matter how fugly I am for some odd reason, they're showing interest. And as I age, a wider plethora of women are showing interest. But I also know that this is because of a desperation factor. I know that they're not interested in me for me. They were never interested in me for me before. You need to realize this. Now, if you want to go ahead and live a fantasy, then that's your thing. But always keep it in the back of your mind. They're not there for you. They're there for what you have and for what you can do for them. As soon as that runs dry, you've outlived your usefulness, and they'll find some way to ditch your sorry ass. Even if they sit there and have to lie to make sure that you are absolutely destroyed, so that way they can look like they're not the bad person. Now, are all women going to do that? No. You got the rare unicorn. But those are becoming more and more rare. In fact, more and more women now are being straightforward about their nature. They're saying, yeah, I'm with this guy for his money. Or, yeah, I'm with this guy for his status. Or, yeah, I just want to have a kid. You know, they're being more straightforward about it. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. All it is now they realize that their number's up. That we have their number. And that we're not buying the bullshit anymore. So they're dropping the pretense. Of course, there are still women out there that think that they can get away with it. And it's funny because the more attractive they are, the more they tend to think they can get away with a lie. And I guess it does serve them well. I mean, they still got plenty of guys that are buying the bullshit. Don't be one of them. Another big issue that you are going to have as a bachelor. Well, those lonely nights. Now, yeah, you know, some guys can completely subsist off of, you know, jerking off. Some guys need a little more, you know, but, you know, some guys, you know, companion bot would be enough to fill that void. You know, that in combination with having a few friends that they can go ahead and talk to and all that. But there are some guys that just really can't get the pussy off the brain. And I understand that. I really fucking do. But just remember the cost of it. Just remember, there is no recourse for you if a woman stealths you. None whatsoever. In fact, she will be rewarded for it. At your expense. Just remember that a woman can sit there and wait for a week or so, or even a month, or possibly even a couple of years, and then claim that you raped her, once all the evidence to the contrary is well gone and dead. And you have no recourse. Remember, in the current system in Western society, you are guilty until proven innocent. In all but the most extreme of cases. And remember, they don't want you to be able to bring up her sexual promiscuity. Her sexual history. So even if she's known to make false allegations, they're trying to get it to where you cannot bring that up. That it's just, it's just using her past against her. No shit. But they're perfectly fine with that being done in the past. Like if you have a history of theft and you're accused of theft, they'll bring that up. If you have a history of violence, they will be more than happy to bring that up. They'll bring that up with fanfare. But if she has a history of being a gold-digging, lying whore, oh, no, you can't bring that up because each case is unique, suddenly. Do keep that in mind. What I'm saying is as a bachelor, you're going to have a lot of benefits. You're going to be able to travel more. You're going to be able to work more flexible hours. You're going to be able to pick a job that you enjoy as opposed to necessarily the best paying job. You can indulge in your habits or your hobbies. You can go ahead and actually sock money aside in one form or another to plan for your future. You can actually keep yourself relatively independent. You can move off the grid if you want. But there are pitfalls. You will have women that will be coming out of the woodwork trying to get what you have. Legitimately or illegitimately. Usually they'll try legitimately first and then illegitimately afterward. I personally don't recommend being friends with too many women, if any. Even if they're married, because the thing is they can still make those claims against you. So don't think that that you're safe there. If you are one of those guys that is currently married, remember to constantly be looking for the signs. Look for the red flags. There's plenty of videos on that. I'm not going to go into that in this video. But constantly be on the lookout for that. Take preemptive steps once you start seeing those red flags. And be honest about those red flags. Because if you're not honest about it, then you're not going to really see it coming and you're not going to have the proper time to prepare. You're going to have people shaming you. You're going to have people going after your livelihood. Protect yourself. Make absolutely certain that you have a backup plan. If you're one of those people that's going to be moving off the grid, look into what that entails. Make sure that you take everything into account. Make sure that your hobbies don't leave a lingering trace, necessarily. Nothing that the government can sit there and say, oh, well, you have this hobby, so that means you have to have a lot of money socked away somewhere, so we're going to tax you based off of our assumption of you having money. And if you think that the government's above doing that, think again. The U.S. government does it. The Canadian government does it. All the European governments do it. Hell, Middle Eastern countries do it with fanfare. They don't even hide it. Expect them to start hitting you with extra taxes. Make sure that they can't collect it. Make sure that your hobbies give you useful skills. I mean, yeah, enjoy your hobbies. But like me, one of my hobbies is computer programming. I could get a job in the field. Don't necessarily prefer it. And you might sit there and go, well, how good of a programmer are you if you're having problems with certain technologies or certain programs? You can know how to program a program from the ground up. But remember, if you're not looking at the code, you're not necessarily going to know everything right off the bat. But like I said, it's just a hobby, so I am not an expert in it. Another big thing that I want to bring up: do not let someone talk you into making yourself a walking target. If someone sits there and goes, oh, you're just wasting your life, you're wasting your potential. If you are happy in the life that you are living, you are not wasting your potential. You are living out your potential in your own way. And that is what it means to be a MGTOW. A lot of people think that being a MGTOW is knowing everything about human nature. That isn't the case. Being a MGTOW is living your life for yourself. It's going down your own path of your own choosing. It's accepting the consequences of your choices. And you realizing that those consequences are directly related to the choices that you've made, both the positive and the negative. I mean, yeah, understanding human nature is definitely part of it, but you have to understand human nature to be able to make choices in your life, because you have to understand not only the nature of the people around you to be able to kind of predict how things are going to go, but you also need to know your own nature. And I'm not talking about necessarily your nature as a man, just your individual nature. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own thought patterns. Everyone has their own ideas and their own aspirations. Live for your own aspirations. Live to accomplish your goals. Whether your goal is ultimately to become completely self-sufficient, to start up your own business, to work for a specific company if you so choose, to learn how to make a living off of your hobby, to maybe just live through life. Maybe your goal is to, touch the lives of others. Find a way to live for those goals and to accomplish those goals in an efficient and intelligent manner. Then you are a MGTOW. Even on the first step down that journey. But the true test of you being a MGTOW is you being able to ignore the simps, to be able to ignore the gold diggers, to ignore the shaming language, or to even laugh it off. Because remember, these people that, there's some MGTOWs that are MGTOWs because they've been slighted. And that's a valid reason. There are some MGTOWs that are MGTOWs because they've seen what's happened to other men. But remember, the simps, the gold diggers, and hell, even the government itself is constantly working against you. They are constantly telling you that you are going to fail at your aspirations. Or that your aspirations have to involve taking on responsibility for others. Whether it's part of your will or against your will. Flip them the bird. And just remember that if you succeed in your aspirations, you succeed in your goals. That is the absolute best revenge you can get on those who wished for you to fail. Who wished for you to not even try in the beginning. Who wanted you to settle. Who wanted you to not reach that maximum potential because of the fear that they had that they would feel inadequate The saying is that success is the best revenge. Well, the thing is when you go MGTOW, you drastically increase your chances of success. It allows you to stay focused. It allows you to not get distracted by other things that are outside of your control. It allows you to stay on your path. And it allows you to navigate any hurdles that come your way. So, if you're new to MGTOW, welcome to the path. I know it kind of sucks being told, oh, well, it's not going to be all rainbows and farts along the way. But the thing is, are you really afraid of a little bit of a challenge and actually get a promise of a payout? Because the thing is if you go ahead and you look at marriage, yeah, you get the challenge, all right. But what is the payout in the end? If you get into relationships with women, yeah, there might be a little bit of a challenge there. But what's the payout in the end? Oh yeah, you paid for a few drinks for her. Oh yeah, you knocked her up. Oh yeah, you're paying for her to raise the child while you're denied anything. While your name is dragged through the mud. Oh yeah, you got your dick wet. But now you're in prison because she said that it was rape because her boyfriend found the pictures of your dick in her mouth. There's plenty of reasons to go MGTOW. In fact, 51% of the US population, just for starters,